The housing market right now just isn't meant for normal American people. And this isn't just an American thing, this is actually a global thing. In case you haven't been paying attention, no one can afford a home right now. But let's think about the state of the housing market right now. Because there's a lot of sellers and there's a lot of buyers. But who's actually buying the homes? When you're seeing houses that are being built all over the country right now, new subdevelopments that are starting at the low 1 millions, or even the low 600,000 or 700,000, the fact that you can affix a low to the beginning of that number really just shows the world of opportunity that we have as normal Americans in this country right now. You don't have any. You don't have any. Unless you're gifted by some wealthy relative a tremendous amount of money that you can actually get one of these houses, you're just never going to own. In fact, they're saying that 20 years from now, the normal American just will never own a home. And that's where you're seeing a major corporate investment going towards planned communities that are just built to rent because they're not for us. They're not for you, right? Those days of you working long hours just so you can save up enough for a down payment, so you can, get a house, have a little peace and quiet, have something that's yours, your own little corner of the world. It's just gone. You're meant to rent now. So unless you're gonna inherit a house or a large amount of wealth, you're just kind of out of luck. And it's not fair. No, it's not fair. But it's the position that most Americans are in right now. Because think about it. If the median home price in America is $440,000, that means that you need about $88,000 of a down payment just for a conventional loan. Who has $88,000 saved up? Do you? Maybe. But very few people do. If 60% of the people in this country don't have $1,000 in their savings account in case of an emergency, who has $80,000 if that's the average? That means the average person should be able to afford the average home price, right? That would make sense, right? That would tell me that everything is going well. If the average person could afford the average price home, then things would be going as they should be going, but it's not. And you're not able to. The only homes that are actually selling right now are the super expensive homes that only people who have millions and millions of dollars of disposable income that they can actually throw into a new asset like a home, yeah, they're buying up homes. There's no shortage of homes that are up for sale that are millions and millions of dollars that are sitting on the market that long. They're going. The money is out there for that market. But for $400,000 or $500,000 homes, they're sitting there for a while now. The sellers are freaking out. Why isn't the home buying? They're so used to people salivating over any home that gets on the market, but now there's a glut of houses on the market, sitting around that inflated price of $400,000 or $500,000. But if only 10% of the country can actually qualify for a mortgage for that home, there's not any buyers for it. The only houses that are actually selling in this market, like I said, are those that are millions of dollars, houses for the super rich, or houses that are still seen as affordable. Houses that sold 5 or 6 years ago for $50,000 or $60,000 that are now going for $200,000. That's all people can afford. And still usually that's a family. If the average household income, the median household income in America is like $76,000, I think, right? That might be able to get you qualified for a mortgage that can get you about $250,000. That's your price range. For the average American, $250,000 is probably your price range for a home. And that's going up every day. As insurance goes up, as taxes goes up, the qualification bar for you actually to get approved for a mortgage like that is going to go higher and higher and higher. What that means is that real estate is on a sliding scale right now. And the amount of people who can actually qualify for a mortgage is sliding down. It's just less and less people are actually able to get approved for a mortgage, which means that you're not going to have home because very few people have the money out there to do a cash offer on a house. So the real estate market is trash right now. It's trash right now. It's going to be trash right now. And the only people who are actually going to be buying up these properties, these single family homes that are meant to go to average people, that are meant to go to average families, but average families will never be able to afford them. That means that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are going to be the ones buying them. It means that the major corporations and private equity firms are going to be snatching up these homes to convert them to rentals. Not only to protect their assets from inflation, but also to get just a little bit more income from taking advantage of a population that's frozen out of the housing market, stealing all the homes in an area and making people rent, having people trapped as renters. The age of ownership in this country is done. If you have elderly people in your family and they've been holding onto a house, I mean, this has to be the next step, really. Families need to look into transferring that wealth on at some point, not just getting a reverse mortgage, not just tapping in your equity and letting the bank take it when you die. Pass that home down, because you not doing that pretty much dooms the next generation of your family from ever buying a home. And that is probably one of the biggest ways you can absolutely fuck over the next generation. One of the most selfish things that you can do. It's bad enough that we've had generations absolutely ruin the economy since the 1960s, and then expect Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha to actually foot the bill for all this. Congratulations, you've made our lives so difficult. The housing market's just twisted. The entire industry is just devoid of any kind of morality. I didn't realize just how jacked up, how wrong, how twisted, how manipulative, how vampiric our economy was until I started working in finances. I had no idea. You have a general idea, but you actually don't know how deep it goes until you learn the ins and outs and you actually deal with clients, I feel like. You don't understand. Because when I interact with clients, I get to see the complete timeline of their financial choices and the institutions that they've been interacting with, and how they've just been juiced dry over promises that, hey, we're going to help you out. And that is the entire financial industry when it comes to dealing with consumers. It's just taking advantage. That's all that it is. And I would go as far as to say that there is some firms out there that, they actually do work towards helping people out. Of course, they make a massive profit, but at the same time, there are companies and corporations out there still that aren't too bad. There's just very few of them. I'd say like 99% are just avaricious machines that have an insatiable lust for other people's money. But as somebody who's very familiar with the market and just looking at what's coming, the housing market's not going to get any better, right? I think we might get a general dip and people are going to flood into the market here in a few months. Honestly, I think that there's going to be a forced rate cut and that's going to cause immediate drop. And eventually it's just going to cause asset prices to balloon. And that's it. That's the death knell. That's the death knell for progression for normal people in this country. Because if you're always going to be stuck as a renter, that means you're always subject to rents going up. As people take more and more equity out of their investment properties, they will continue to pass on that new mortgage onto the renter. There's no benefit to being a renter. They are trapped, footing the bill for landlords who continuously want to just pad their bank accounts while making you pay. How is it not a kind of slavery? Because there's no choice. There's no choice for most Americans to have a home. There's no choice for most Americans to buy a home. We're going off averages here, right? The average person is going to work so hard. They're going to work so much. They're going to make so much money. The average person tries. The average person works their ass off because they have to. And they work their ass off because you need twice the median household income to actually qualify for a mortgage of a median priced home. People have to work hard to survive now, and it's just, there's not really a way out, right? I don't see how there's a way out of this. That's the thing, is like, you just need to work harder and you can get there. It's like, okay, I understand that. As somebody who works, very few people work as much as I do. I am a workaholic, absolutely. It can be a bit of a problem sometimes, but I tell you right now that there are limitations to how much you can actually make. The vast majority of people, they monetized every aspect of their life. They spent every hour trying to get money to come in. They're not going to be making $140,000 a year, which is what they need to actually get a mortgage for that first home. They don't. And they never will. And we know that because we know what averages are. It's a problem that's not going away, and it's a problem that's going to cause a massive amount of resentment in this country, and it's just going to cause societal breakdown. We always ask, where do these things lead to in the end? And it's either some kind of objective, subservient caste system in our country, the haves, the have-nots, the landowners and the renters, a fiefdom, if you will. We either go back to a kind of feudalism, or you have landowners and serfs, or you do the thing that can actually save your country. You do the actual thing that can help people out, which is you make it illegal for corporations to own single family homes. You make it illegal for corporations to own apartment blocks. You make it illegal for major corporations on Wall Street that have nothing to do with the housing industry, that have nothing to do with actually improving people's lives, only making profit. You get them out of housing altogether because they have no reason to be there other than to take advantage of the population, other than to get as much of the equity out of the normal person's life and suck it up right into Wall Street. There's no reason for them to be in the housing business. None at all. And because they're objectively a great evil that works against the people, it should be a necessity that the practice of buying up all the single family homes and turning neighborhoods into just renting estates be illegal, be ruled unlawful instead of just immoral. Because everyone can see that it's immoral. Everyone can see that it's wrong. Everyone can see the negative impact that it has. I mean, everyone knows that it's leading to a dark place. Everybody knows that corporations getting in the housing game and creating neighborhoods that are meant purely for renters, right? Where you have 800 properties and no one actually owns anything except the corporation. Everyone's there is renting. And how many fees they'll stack up when people have no other choice, and how they can keep taking equity out of their portfolios and passing that on to the consumer, right? It will forever be, survival in America will forever be a carrot that is hanging in front of us that we will never actually get, right? It used to be success, the American dream, that was held in front of us and that would just grind us all the way through a career until eventually maybe we can get it when we're 65. Now it's just survival, right? It's just maintaining life here, maintaining some kind of happy, healthy standard here in America. It's just right in front of you. And you're just constantly, your entire life, you're trying to get it. There's no benefit to this for the people. There's no benefit to letting these countries run roughshod over American lives. And what's worse is the politicians and everyone else who's absolutely just bent over for these people and does everything that they want in the name of improving the economy. But again, it's just serving this economy up here, while the other economy down here that we all exist in is completely ignored as always. And we're just left to fend for ourselves. But if we question them up there, then we're not patriots. Then we're ungrateful, if anything else. We give you the slop, we give you the rental. You can't afford the home. We at least give you a place to stay. Peasant, be thankful. Send us a Christmas card. That's not a world anybody wants to live in. That's not a world any Americans should find acceptable. And it has to be done away with. It has to be done away with. There actually needs to be voices out there that call out these corporations and say that the practice should be deemed unlawful and then illegal, right? Take it away from them. No, I don't care how many assets these corporations have. It's wrong for them to have it. They should just be taken away. And that's just the truth, because millions and millions of people suffer because of it. If this government was actually for the people, they would make it illegal already, because everyone knows it's bad. Everyone knows that it's a social ill to let corporations enter the housing market. It's a terrible idea. But that's all we got for today. Thanks for stopping by. These people are just wrong, but have a good one.